Today I'm catching Britain's newest Intercity train. This is the troublesome Mark 5A carriages for Chiltern Railways. Except just one thing, these carriages aren't actually new, having entered service back in 2019, and after just a couple of years in service they were abandoned due to serious concerns over their construction quality. So what has actually changed since then? Well, join me today to find out as we take a ride from Birmingham down to London, and I show you why perhaps these carriages were better off left abandoned. Hello, here from Birmingham Moor Street Station. Today we'll be catching the brand new Intercity trains for Chiltern Railways. These trains have had a very troubled history, entering service in 2019 and only remaining in service for a couple of years, where they were then abandoned due to serious quality issues. So now they're back in service, and that should make for a very interesting ride, so let's get going. Moor Street Station is the second largest serving the city, and at least in my opinion it looks a lot better than the larger and busier New Street Station a short walk away. Moor Street's roots go back to the early 1900s and has been through a few renovations and changes since then. And my first impressions of the station are great, with the station still featuring many historic elements. It's a small but pleasant station, with two small cafes alongside a shop and ticket office and some ticket machines. Behind the ticket machines you'll find a few posters about the station's history, which I found to be well worth a little read. There was also a more temporary poster promoting the new trains we'll be riding today, so let's head through to the platforms and wait for its arrival. Moor Street reminds me a bit of a smaller Oslo Central station, with most trains using the through platforms taking a tunnel under the city centre, but there are also a few terminating platforms. The terminating platforms are mostly used by Chiltern Railways, who provide services along the Chiltern Main Line south towards London. Services to London are currently operated mostly using multiple units like this Class 165, but that's set to change with the introduction of the new trains. More on that later in the video. The station is also served by West Midland trains, who provide local services in and around the Birmingham area, and I guess to the West Midlands using their diesel multiple unit fleet. But enough about other trains. After waiting around for a couple more minutes, our train finally arrives, working the inbound service from London Marylebone. The new trains are formed of Class 68 locomotives built by Vossloh, which is now part of Stadler Spain, and this part of the train has been mostly unproblematic. Where the issues lie is instead with the Mark 5A carriages, which were built by Spanish CAF. We will dive into that more after Depature, but for now I really do have to say I think this might be the ugliest cab control car I've ever seen. Chiltern Railways have nicknamed these trains Explorer, and they are also the first trains to wear the company's brand new livery, replacing their former silver branding. Right, let's head on board this train and check it out. I'll be travelling in first class today, which these trains are bringing back to the Chiltern Main Line after years of only offering standard class. So let's check out this product. Yes, that is right, first class is coming back to the Chiltern Main Line. Initially just as a £20 flat upgrade fee from any standard class ticket, which you pay directly to the staff on board. There's no seat reservations on board Chiltern, at least for now, so I just grabbed this empty seat all the way at the back. Those of you who are familiar with TransPennine Express will already have spotted that the interior is largely identical. I certainly hope Chiltern has a lot of staff on hand to clean these trains, as the white and blue materials TPE chose for these seats makes dirt and stains extremely visible, as I experienced on a previous trip. I guess we'll know in a couple of weeks if this also becomes a problem on Chiltern. Anyway, we are now ready to depart Birmingham on time at 13:45. We slowly snake our way out of the station and onto the main line, which will take us all the way to London in about 2 hours. So let's go and take a look at the route map for today's journey. We are on board the 13:45 Moor Street to Marylebone service. our train will make 7 intermediate stops on its 111-mile long journey that's scheduled to take an hour and 58 minutes to reach London's Marylebone Station, giving the train an average speed of 56 miles per hour. My first impressions are not great. The white walls look like they are made of cheap plastic, and the train is brightly lit like a surgery room, making the train overall feel cheap and clinical, which unfortunately is the case with a lot of newer rolling stock in the United Kingdom. I personally can't say that I'm a fan of these design choices. Initially, our train acts more like a stopping service, stopping roughly every 10 minutes in many of the larger towns and villages along the route just south of Birmingham. One of these stations is Dorridge. Nowadays, it's an affluent commuter village, which really kicked off its development with the arrival of the railway in 1852. I know I've been quite critical about these trains so far, and unfortunately there really is not that much good stuff to say about them. But the first class seats are definitely a highlight. They got a winged headrest alongside a supporting pillow, which unfortunately is quite stiff and unadjustable. The seat itself is ergonomically shaped and features a good amount of padding, which I found to be pretty comfortable overall. A power outlet as well as USB port can be found underneath the movable armrest, which was also slightly padded for extra comfort. One thing British trains generally do well is the large and sturdy tables found at many of the seats, making them great for getting some work done. There is also a pretty standard window blind, but strangely there seem to be no coat hook present. The seat also offers a little bit of recline, and overall I found the seat to be perfectly fine. Would I pay £20 to upgrade again? Probably not. I would say the price is quite steep, especially given that the only thing first class gets you is this better seat. And as you might have noticed in the shaky last clip, these trains are not smooth at all, with lots of jolting from side to side pretty much constantly. You can even hear the slight popping, which I assume is coming from the bogie construction. It certainly sounds unlike any other carriages I've been on, which normally make close to no sound. And this is also where the main issue with this train lies. They were originally ordered for TransPennine Express and entered service with them in 2019. After roughly 4 years in service, they were withdrawn due to poor reliability, including cracks being found in multiple carriages. At one point, only 4 of the 13 sets of carriages were in service, making them the most unreliable trains in the United Kingdom at the time. So after just 4 years in service, they were abandoned, and now here in 2026 Chiltern Railways have picked them up for use on their services. So I guess we'll see how that goes over the coming months and years. We continue our journey south, with our next stop being Leamington Spa, one of the many spa towns in Britain, with the water in the town said to have many medicinal and healing qualities. Historically, this made the town mostly focused around tourism, but nowadays it has a sizable manufacturing industry also, as well as being home to a lot of game studios. Right, let me show you around the rest of the train. First class comes in the expected 2+1 layout and is also where you'll find the train's accessible seating. Throughout the train there's plenty of luggage racks, and as we head out to the vestibule to the doors, you'll find the train's accessible toilet. The rest of the train is standard class, which we'll find in the next carriages. This comes in the expected 2+2 layout with a mix of airline and table style seating. If I'm being honest, I think these seats look cheap and plasticky, which I guess matches the overall aesthetic of this train. This is the infamous Fainter Sophia seat, which is also fitted to various other long-distance trains in the United Kingdom. I find these seats to be rock hard, very upright, and I will straight up describe them as uncomfortable. And once the padding in the base of the seat collapses, it feels like you're sitting on straight up metal. Which happens after a couple of years of use, as I've experienced on GWR's version of the seat. The only positive thing I can say is that at least you only have to suffer them for around 2 hours on Chiltern Railways. As for other onboard features, the train is fitted with quite a spacious flexible area, including good space for bikes. Standard toilets are also fitted throughout the train. I found the position of the lock a little interesting, but it worked without issue, and apart from that, the toilet was clean, stocked with toilet paper, and was fully functional both in terms of water and the flushing mechanism, so I will give it a thumbs up. Walking through the train, I really noticed all the small vibrations shaking the train from side to side. Honestly, it's frankly impressive that CAF has managed to build something so basic as an unpowered train carriage and have it ride so poorly. So yeah, so far I am not impressed by these trains. You can clearly tell this interior was primarily dictated by people who mostly view the world through Excel sheets, and that is certainly reflected in the overall experience. As for the actual carriages themselves, the ride quality is almost comically bad, and I am not surprised that TPE gave up on these trains. I can only hope that Chiltern and CAF can work together to make these trains better, because really at this point I think these carriages might just have been better left off abandoned. And you might be wondering, why would Chiltern pick up these trains then? Well, that will make a lot more sense to explain once we get closer to London. After our stop here in Bicester North, we will run non-stop to the capital along the Chiltern Main Line, reaching a maximum speed of 100 miles per hour. And soon enough we begin the approach to the capital as we start running next to the London Underground and our train starts to slow down. On our way in, we pass the train depot at Wembley, where we can see Chiltern's 50-year-old Mark III carriages, which is what the new trains are replacing. However, there's a catch. Although Chiltern is getting 13 Mark V sets, which overall has more seats, each individual Mark V set has significantly fewer seats than the Mark III rakes currently used. So until the timetable is rewritten to run more trains overall, which won't happen till December 2026 at least, the Mark V carriages are actually a capacity downgrade, as they initially will replace the Mark III rakes one for one. I'm sure that's gonna be popular with peak time commuters. So yeah, as we now approach London's Marylebone station, I think the best way I can sum up these trains is with the word disappointing. The interior feels cheap. The seats, especially in second class, are disappointing, if not downright unacceptable, with the ride quality being rough. Our train pulls into London's Marylebone station on time at 15:43. While I'm glad I did get to try these carriages, I certainly won't be seeking them out in the future. Have you had the chance to ride these carriages, and what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and if you liked the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button as I try to upload a new video every Sunday. You can also support the channel by becoming a member, which gives you early access to all my videos and exclusive sneak peeks at future videos for just a couple of euros every month. Thanks for watching.